Hello world, I'm Vishwak Prakrit. A lot of people just know me as Vish, and I'm a jack of many trades, but I've built a career mostly working in film and video. Starting a YouTube channel has been like a thing that I've been wanting to do for a while. At least 2 years now that I've been seriously thinking about it. I'm actually going to work after this, so I have like 10 minutes to try and finish shooting this, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I know I'll come up with other excuses if I don't. And that's literally what this whole thing is about. It's about getting out of your own way, in the sense of me getting out of my own way. When I started my career back in 2012, 2013, YouTube was like nothing at that point, and I built my early career literally selling low budget video content to big brands so they could showcase it on YouTube. This is before Instagram, this is before TikTok. I even worked with a few friends and started YouTube channels where they were the talent and I was kind of behind the scenes shooting and editing for them. I always saw the potential in all of this, and then somewhere down the road I stopped. 2 years ago when I wanted to start YouTube, I came up with this ridiculous theory that YouTube was oversaturated and that everyone's doing content these days, and so I don't want to be doing that, even though I did. And I spent a long time trying to just make one video, but the point was I was proved completely wrong, because these past few months I've not had like 45 minutes or 2 hours to sit and watch an episode or a movie. So I often just rely on quick YouTube content. Pretty much whatever it is that I'm looking for, I think I can find it. I think that's kind of what YouTube is around the world at this point. It's a household name, and not only are there more new creators than ever before, but there's also a very fast growth that I'm noticing in a lot of these new channels that are coming up. And I feel like it tells you a lot about people not just wanting to consume stuff, but also just taking some value out of it, like learning something in some way. Even if it's an entertaining product, there's something that you can take out of it, right? Like it's us sharing information with each other. I remember when I was in middle school, for example, I was getting into rock music at that point, and a bunch of my friends and I would share music with each other. We tell each other this band or this song, or often we'd illegally download it and pass off CDs or whatever it was. That's how I learned about some of the greatest bands in the world. I even started a band in middle school, and the first week that we practiced, I knew someone who worked for this venue, and I called him and I said, "Hey, I have a band," and he's like, "Oh, someone just dropped out in a week from that day or something, and they wanted us to perform." I didn't know anything, neither did my band. We've played like a day maybe at this point or less, and we needed a set list of like 4 or 5 songs to be able to perform, and we didn't have that many. And my drummer at that point was a big fan of metal and heavy metal, even though most of us were like into the classic rock and hard rock kind of space. We decided, you know what, little time, he knows this song pretty well, it's not that complicated to learn, so let's do it. And so we learned a couple of System of a Down songs that we performed alongside like Hoobastank's The Reason or something. Like it was just pretty crazy. But the point was, later on, the drummer and I eventually had our differences and we split, and most of the others in the band kind of came with me to another band that we went in the opposite spectrum, and we played like Eric Clapton and Pink Floyd kind of music, and never went back to the heavy metal side of covering music on stage. But if I didn't do that show with that person and learn about System of a Down or Metallica or Megadeth or all those different bands that he enjoyed, I would have never learned how complex metal music was to create, but also to perform, to just the vocal range, the speed, the kind of styles of playing, and it's just amazing. And I may never play it again, but I have some of my favorite songs from my whole lifetime are from some of these bands. So in the same way, I feel like making this kind of content and putting it out there is just a little tiny speck of information that might help someone. Maybe it is that answer that someone's seeking. I know for a fact these past few months, watching some of these creators has helped me answer a lot of questions that I was otherwise struggling with. And I really hope I could do the same through this channel, but also I could really share a lot of these experiences that I've had over time are not just specific to filmmaking or a creative business in general, but also to anyone who struggles with you holding yourself back from whatever it is that you want to do, but you are not letting yourself do. I think I have a PhD in that subject, so I thought I could really use this platform as a means to share some of those stories and encourage you guys, while actually holding myself accountable to do this on a regular basis and to do something that I told myself I would, and I told a few people around me that I would, and I know that I want to, and it makes me happy. And I genuinely believe this is, in many ways, the future. Content doesn't have to be Mr. Beast or epic rap battles. It doesn't have to be those big things. Anyone who can share any sort of value. You know, there's creators who teach, there's creators who just talk about life, there are creators who showcase their work. There is just so much out there. And I think there's only going to be more consumption of this. So why not be a part of that and unite as one big collective, generation that is sick and tired of everything that's happening around us, right? Something funny is, after like 5 years of doing what I did in Mumbai for brands, I moved to New York finally, which was a dream of mine, and I went to film school. And I remember my teacher, my directing and cinematography teacher, I went and showed him my first demo reel, and I was like, look, I'm so happy. And I showed him my demo reel from before I came to film school as well. And he saw me and he said, I think you did better work before you came here. And we laughed about it, but now I think back about it almost a decade later, and it makes a lot of sense, because over the years you start learning and you start building and you start setting these expectations for yourself on how you want your work to be, and often that can lead you down a spiral. The idea of a beginner's mindset, and me coming into this as not someone who's made my own feature films, not someone who's made a bunch of music videos or commercials or whatever it is, but as a first-time content creator who is in front of the camera myself, and I'm sharing my own journey with all of you, and hopefully I get to hear more about your own journeys, and maybe you've taken that step that I'm talking about, or maybe you're struggling to, or maybe people who might benefit from what I'm talking about. Do shed love if you took something out of this, and I look forward to doing this a lot more and getting to know all of you people out there.